So you had a bad first session with your therapist. First, let me tell you, it's okay. It happens. It's probably not your fault. I'm gonna go over 4 reasons why that might have happened, and then I'm gonna talk about things you can do to make the next time so much better so that you can get what you're looking for or potentially get the help that you need. Okay, first, I'm gonna call it the T&L balance. It stands for talking and listening. You have gone your whole life communicating in a certain way. The people you keep around you, picked and chosen consciously and unconsciously, centered around the way you communicate. And sometimes you have to keep somebody around regardless of how you communicate with them. But when it comes to the therapist, you really get to kind of choose what's going on. And sometimes we expect that to go very, very smoothly right off the bat because it's in a professional setting, you might be paying for whatever the case may be. But both you and your therapist are people who have habits in how much you talk and how much you listen. And sometimes it just doesn't mesh in a way that feels right. You may end up feeling talked over, or you may feel that you had to talk too much. In any case, it's all right. We want it to go perfectly because it's a hard step to make in choosing that first therapist or going or getting out the door or even booking that first session. But just because it didn't go right the first time with one person, it doesn't mean that therapy isn't right for you. It just means that that therapist's style of communication potentially didn't mesh with how you like to communicate. And when talk therapy is all centered around communication and talking, that's kind of important. Okay, second. Now, this is a very, very popular topic right now, and that's validation. Your thoughts are valid, emotions, feelings, behaviors, trauma, all of it can be valid. But how much do you need to hear that you are valid from your therapist in order for you to feel welcomed and comfortable? Everyone is different and everyone has different needs in terms of how much external validation they need or may not need. Your therapist is going to have habits on how much validation they give, and you have expectations on how much validation you should receive. If this is an issue, it can end up with you leaving your appointment feeling like you don't matter or that you haven't been heard. Or if there's just too much validation, it might make you feel kind of babied. And while those feelings aren't necessarily all right on either side of the spectrum, it isn't necessarily yours or the therapist's fault because you just have different styles of communicating validation or expectations or needs around that. Third, your therapist did or didn't tell you what to do. Now, this is called directive or non-directive therapy. Essentially, the more recent modalities believe that you as the client are the expert on your own life and that they as the therapist do not necessarily know what the best course of action is for you. The therapist more just guides you along in the process of you finding what is best for yourself. There are benefits to this as it removes the potential for bias on the therapist side and other things, but sometimes when we don't know what we're doing in the first place, you might feel you need a bit more of a directive approach. Older styles of therapy are a bit more directive, psychodynamics like the Freudian stuff, and you may lean to needing one style a bit more over the other, and there's definitely debate about which is the best method, but it doesn't matter that there is a debate because what matters is what works for you as the client, and everybody needs something a little bit different. So walking in expecting one thing and getting another thing once again doesn't add up. Okay, and finally, for the final reason, this may sound a little silly, but you may simply just not have liked them or their office. Growth and healing requires a lot of different things to kind of line up correctly, and as humans, we are genetically wired to take in our surroundings and make split decisions for our own safety. So something might have just been off without you being consciously aware of it. Seriously, trust your gut. But be careful not to lean on this one as an excuse too much just to go through therapists, because without the longevity of getting to know your therapist and building that trust and building the rapport, you won't get to the deeper issues that might need to be worked on, and you end up staying at the surface just dealing with the daily drama. Okay, so we've gone through our reasons. Now, how do you make the next one better? First, do your research. Your time is precious and picking a therapist is a big step to take. Use a website like Psychology Today. You can even check the link in my bio or description if you want to see what a fully completed one looks like. Therapists will tell you all about themselves so you can make a decision even before booking. Next, book a free consultation call. Most therapists offer them nowadays, but don't treat it as a mini therapy session. It's only about 15 minutes, which you're not going to get into anything too serious anyways. So use it as a way to explore if you want to invest more time into them as a therapist. You get to choose, and there is no commitment involved. If a therapist is mad that you won't book a session afterwards, then that's probably not the right person for you, so goodbye. Okay, and last, don't rush. If you've made it to the first session and you're looking for something long term, you don't need to dive right into the deeper issues. You treat it like you're going on a date. Ask questions, find out about them. If you're comfortable, you're probably gonna naturally open up about the things you wanna talk about anyways. Lay out what you think it should look like so that the expectations on both sides of the relationship are clear. And as one more bonus, please do not get discouraged if it doesn't work out again. I know it's discouraging, but from the bottom of my heart, I believe in you. I believe in the step you're trying to take, and I am so proud of you for trying to take it. So, best of luck out there, and I'll see you soon.